The first three chakras sustain life, but attachment to them obscures the real.
Most people never rise, they circulate. You were never meant to arrive, only to remember.
Foundation is not destination. Civilization stands on activated roots, not awakened crowns.
In Sahasrara, silence recognizes itself. The crown opens when nothing seeks to open.
Union is not an event. It is the end of separation.
Most people remain loyal to material energy and never awaken to the real.
Humanity does not suffer from ignorance. It suffers from self-deception. You were not meant to awaken sometimes. You were not meant to touch higher states and return to instinct. You were not meant to rise in meditation and collapse back into impulse, emotion, desire, and fear. And yet, this is exactly what most of humanity calls awakening. The Arcturian Council observes no shortage of spiritual language, practices, or beliefs on this planet. What is missing is stability of consciousness. Awakening is not a feeling. It is not insight. It is not information. It is not even expansion. Awakening is where your energy resides when nothing is happening. Most humans, including many who consider themselves awakened, live energetically below the threshold required for divine interaction. They rise briefly, then fall. They open, then collapse. They perceive, then react. This oscillation is not growth, it is leakage. You cannot reach the divine while your system is dominated by survival, desire, emotional charge, and identity defense. The divine does not respond to movement, it responds to position. And position is revealed by which centers command your life. Many humans feel offended by this truth because it removes comfort, it removes fantasy, it removes the idea that intention alone is enough. It is not. If your awareness repeatedly descends into fear, craving, validation, emotional intensity, or self-importance, then your consciousness has not ascended, it has merely visited higher states. Visitation is not residence. The Council does not measure enlightenment by what you believe, feel, or claim. It measures where your energy stabilizes without effort. And here is the uncomfortable observation. Most of humanity remains anchored in the lower field. Some awaken emotionally at the heart. Very few rise beyond it, and almost none remain above it. The reason the divine feels distant is not mystery, it is mechanics. This transmission is not meant to comfort you, it is meant to reorient you. Because the ascent does not begin when you feel ready, it begins when you stop falling back.
Chapter 1. Where most human energy is actually trapped. Humanity does not fail to ascend because it lacks spirituality. It fails because it refuses to move its center of gravity. The majority of human consciousness is not elevated, refined, or aligned with higher intelligence. It is concentrated, compressed into the lower energetic field where instinct, impulse, emotion, and identity dominate perception. This is not a moral failure, it is an energetic condition. Most human energy circulates almost exclusively through the three foundational centers. Muladhara, the root of survival, fear, safety, belonging, and identity. Svadhisthana, the generative and sexual center of desire, pleasure, attachment, and creation through impulse. Manipura, the umbilical field encompassing the solar plexus, governing power, self-image, control, validation, and self-esteem. These centers are necessary. They were designed to build a human, but they were never designed to govern a consciousness indefinitely. When awareness remains trapped here, life becomes reactive instead of directive. Reality is interpreted emotionally instead of structurally. Decisions are driven by fear of loss, hunger for sensation, or protection of identity. From this level, even spirituality becomes distorted. Muladhara seeks certainty, Svadhisthana seeks fulfillment, Manipura seeks recognition. And so awakening is reduced to coping mechanisms, not ascension. The lower field is loud, demanding, and addictive. The lower centers operate through urgency. They pull attention downward through fear disguised as responsibility, desire disguised as creativity, control disguised as confidence, emotion disguised as intuition. This is why so many humans feel exhausted even while working on themselves. Their energy never leaves the gravitational pull of Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and Manipura. They do not rise. They strain upward, then collapse back. The system becomes addicted to intensity, pleasure, pain, drama, stimulation, because intensity is how the lower field feels alive. Stillness threatens it, silence dissolves it. Why most human lives feel repetitive? When consciousness remains anchored in Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and Manipura, reality loops. Lessons repeat, relationships recycle, conflicts reappear in new forms, manifestations feel slow, unstable, or conditional. This is not because the universe is testing you, it is because energy is not ascending into a level where pattern recognition becomes possible. Lower centers experience life linearly, higher centers perceive structure. As long as awareness stays below Anahata, the human remains inside the story, never above it. The misunderstanding of creation and manifestation. Many humans believe that creation originates in desire. This is false. Desire initiates movement, but it does not command reality. Creation that arises from Svadhisthana and Manipura is unstable, short-lived, and emotionally charged. It depends on motivation, willpower, and constant effort. This is why so many people manifest briefly, then lose, build, then collapse, rise, then fall. They're creating from below, where energy fluctuates. The lower chakras generate force, they do not generate coherence. The critical threshold most never cross. The tragedy is not that humans live in the lower field. The tragedy is that they normalize it. They call Muladhara-driven fear being realistic. They call Svadhisthana-driven desire following passion. They call Manipura-driven volatility personal power. And they call identity defense self-respect. And so the system never moves. The Arcturian Council observes that most humans do not lack light, they lack verticality. Energy spreads outward, sideways, downward, but not upward. Without upward movement, consciousness cannot reorganize. Without reorganization, perception cannot shift. Without shift, awareness remains conceptual. This is not a condemnation, it is a diagnosis. Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and Manipura are not enemies, they are infrastructure. They give grounding, vitality, creativity, personal power, individual form. But infrastructure is meant to support ascent, not replace it. A foundation without elevation becomes confinement. Until energy is intentionally withdrawn from constant survival loops, Muladhara, desire cycles, Svadhisthana, and identity reinforcement, Manipura, awareness cannot stabilize above Anahata, and without stability, there is no access. The Arcturian observation. From the Arcturian perspective, humanity is not blocked, it is overinvested below. Too much attention feeds Muladhara, too much identity is stored in Svadhisthana and Manipura, too much meaning is attached to sensation, emotion, and reaction.
Ascension does not require destroying these centers, it requires ceasing to live inside them. The moment awareness stops being commanded by the lower field, ascent becomes inevitable. Until then, no amount of practice, belief, or intention will move consciousness upward permanently. Because gravity is not overcome by desire, it is overcome by position.
Activation, foundational alignment of the lower triad. This activation is not for elevation yet, it is for order. Ascension cannot occur while the foundation is fragmented. The lower field must become quiet, coherent, and obedient. Close your eyes, not to escape, but to withdraw attention from noise. Bring awareness to the base of your spine. Muladhara, root stabilization. Acknowledge Muladhara without fear. Say inwardly, I release survival urgency. I am grounded without tension. Safety no longer commands my awareness. Feel the base of your body become heavy, calm, immovable. Not rigid, stable. Muladhara is not erased, it is silenced. Svadhisthana, generative neutralization. Move awareness slightly upward below the navel. Svadhisthana does not need suppression, it needs containment. Say inwardly, desire returns to neutrality. Pleasure no longer pulls my consciousness. Creation flows without attachment. Feel warmth becomes smooth. Motion becomes fluid, not compulsive. Svadhisthana stops leaking energy outward. It begins to circulate inward. Manipura, power recalibration. Now bring attention to the umbilical center. Manipura has learned to dominate. Now it learns to serve. Say inwardly, control dissolves into clarity. Self-worth no longer seeks validation. Power aligns with coherence. Feel the center soften, not weaken, reorganize. Manipura releases urgency. Authority moves upward. Triad integration. Now perceive the three centers together. Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura. They are no longer pulling awareness downward. They are stacked, aligned, and quiet. Say inwardly, the foundation is ordered. The lower field is coherent. Energy is available for ascent. Do not force elevation. Stillness is the signal. When the lower triad is calm, consciousness naturally rises. Closing seal. Remain silent for a few breaths. No visualization, no expectation, just presence without pull. This activation is complete. The base is stabilized. The ascent may now begin.
Chapter 2. Anahata, the most comfortable prison in human spirituality. If the lower chakras trap humanity in survival, Anahata traps the awakened in comfort. This is the center where most spiritual journeys stall permanently. Anahata, the heart chakra, opens compassion, empathy, sensitivity, love, and connection. And for many, this feels like arrival. It is not. From the Arcturian perspective, Anahata is not the destination of awakening. It is the most seductive holding zone consciousness can enter, because it feels high while still remaining safe. Why Anahata feels like enlightenment. When Anahata opens, suffering softens. Judgment dissolves. The sense of separation weakens. For the first time, the human feels love without possession, connection without control, meaning beyond survival. This relief is powerful, and relief is dangerous, because many mistake emotional expansion for vertical ascension. Anahata feels peaceful compared to Muladhara. It feels refined compared to Svadhisthana. It feels noble compared to Manipura. So consciousness stops climbing. The heart does not command reality. This is the truth most teachings avoid. The heart does not direct the field. It harmonizes it, but does not govern it. Anahata is a bridge, not a throne. From the heart, humans feel. They empathize. They forgive. They connect. But they do not yet see clearly. They do not yet speak with authority. They do not yet perceive structure. And so reality remains unchanged. Love without coherence does not alter timelines. Compassion without clarity does not reorganize systems. Sensitivity without direction leaks energy. The heart only, awakened human. This archetype is everywhere. They speak of love constantly. They avoid conflict at all cost. They mistake emotional softness for wisdom. They fear decisiveness because it feels egoic. They are kind but unstable, open but ungrounded, empathic but exhausted. They absorb energy instead of directing it. Anahata opens the gates, but these humans never walk through. Why many spiritual people feel drained? The heart is porous. When awareness remains centered in Anahata without ascent, the human becomes energetically exposed. They feel everything, carry others' emotions, absorb collective density, confuse empathy with responsibility. They call this service. It is not service. It is misplacement of consciousness. Without Vishuddha, the throat, there is no boundary. Without Ajna, the frontal center, there is no discernment. Without Sahasrara, the crown, there is no authority. So the heart overworks and eventually collapses back into the lower field. The oscillation loop. This is where oscillation begins. Heart opens. Lower chakras pull back. Love expands. Desire reasserts. Compassion arises. Identity claims control. Up, down, up, down. Not ascension, cycling. The heart becomes a temporary refuge instead of a passageway. Why Anahata feels morally right. Anahata aligns with human ethics. It feels gentle, non-threatening, acceptable. It does not challenge belief systems. It does not dissolve identity aggressively. It does not demand silence or sovereignty. And so it is praised. But the divine does not respond to moral goodness. It responds to structural coherence. The Arcturian warning. From the Council's perspective, Anahata-centered consciousness is unfinished. Not wrong, not impure, but incomplete. The heart must hand authority upward. If it does not, it becomes a sanctuary where growth ends. Many humans will spend lifetimes here, loving deeply, feeling profoundly, yet never accessing higher intelligence, because love alone does not unlock the higher field. The moment ascension stops. The moment the heart becomes an identity. I am loving. I am compassionate. I am sensitive. These are not truths. They are attachments. And attachment, even to goodness, anchors consciousness. The uncomfortable reality. If your spirituality is defined primarily by emotional openness, empathy without authority, love without clarity, compassion without structure, then your awareness is not rising, it is resting. Anahata is not the crown, it is the threshold, and thresholds are meant to be crossed. The Arcturian standard. The heart opens the path, but Vishuddha commands it. Ajna perceives it. Sahasrara integrates it. Until energy leaves Anahata and stabilizes above it, the divine remains a concept, not a lived intelligence. The greatest trap of awakening is mistaking comfort for completion. Activation. Transmuting the heart into coherent love. This activation is not about leaving the heart. It is about refining it. Love does not end here. It evolves. Sit still. Do not dramatize. Do not emote. Bring awareness to the center of the chest. Anahata. Not as feeling, but as frequency. Observe it without identity. Now state inwardly, calmly. Love remains. Confusion dissolves. Compassion matures into clarity. The heart aligns with coherence. Do not force sensation. Do not seek warmth. Allow the heart to quiet without closing. Refining emotional energy. Notice any pull toward emotional response, empathy overload, or absorption. Do not reject it. Simply stabilize it. Say inwardly, love no longer oscillates. Compassion no longer leaks energy. The heart becomes precise. Feel the chest shift from expansion to stillness. This is not contraction, it is organization. Transmission upward. Now sense the space between the heart and the throat. Not movement, alignment. Say inwardly, love rises into truth. Feeling aligns with expression. Clarity now carries compassion. Notice how love feels different here. Less emotional, more stable, more silent. Ending the heart trap, say inwardly, I no longer confuse love with emotionality. Compassion no longer replaces awareness. The heart supports ascension. Anahata remains open, but it no longer anchors consciousness. It feeds upward. Closing seal, remain present for a few breaths. No affirmation, no visualization, just coherent presence. Love is no longer reactive. It is intelligent. This activation is complete. The heart has been transmuted. Clarity now leads. Chapter 3. Why Vishuddha terrifies the awakened ego. Vishuddha is where spirituality stops being internal and starts becoming irreversible. This is why the awakened ego fears it. Up to this point, awakening can remain private, emotional, adaptable, and safe. In Muladhara, survival still negotiates. In Svadhisthana, desire still seduces. In Manipura, identity still controls. In Anahata, love still comforts. But Vishuddha removes hiding places. Vishuddha is not about speaking, it is about authority. Most people misunderstand the throat center. They think Vishuddha is about communication, expression, or speaking one's truth. That is incomplete. Vishuddha is the center where frequency becomes directive. Here, energy stops circulating internally and begins to command structure. This is where intention stops being emotional and becomes lawful, and the ego, even the spiritual ego, does not survive command. Why the awakened ego panics here? Below Vishuddha, identity can adapt. It can love without responsibility, feel without consequence, heal without embodiment, understand without application. But Vishuddha demands alignment. What you speak must match what you are. What you claim must match what you emit. What you know must match how you live. There is no spiritual performance here. The awakened ego fears this because it cannot pretend. The end of spiritual flexibility. In the lower and heart centers, contradiction is tolerated. You can speak of unity and still live in fear. You can speak of awakening and still oscillate. You can speak of truth and still avoid clarity. Vishuddha collapses contradiction. It does not judge you, it exposes you. And exposure terrifies the ego far more than ignorance. Why many awakened humans go silent here? Notice what happens when someone reaches this threshold. They stop speaking clearly. They soften language. They hide behind metaphors. They avoid definitive statements. They call this humility. It is not. It is avoidance of authority. Because once Vishuddha stabilizes, words carry consequence, and consequence removes comfort. Vishuddha and the death of the seeker cannot exist here. Seeking implies lack. Vishuddha implies position. From this center, you no longer ask reality questions, you address it. The awakened ego fears this because it ends the journey narrative. No more becoming, no more almost there, no more spiritual identity, only presence that speaks. Why the throat center feels empty. At first, many who touch Vishuddha feel disoriented. The warmth of the heart fades. The intensity of emotion quiets. The motivation of desire disappears. They think something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. This is the first experience of neutral authority. Vishuddha does not stimulate. It stabilizes. And stability feels unfamiliar to a nervous system addicted to movement. The point of no return. Once Vishuddha activates coherently, you cannot unknow what you emit. Speech becomes responsibility. Silence becomes intentional. Presence becomes declaration. This is why so few remain here, because this center removes excuses. The Arcturian observation. From the Council's perspective, Vishuddha is the first point where consciousness becomes reliable. Below it, awareness fluctuates. At it, awareness stabilizes. This is why higher intelligence engages only after this threshold, not because humans are unworthy, but because clarity must exist before dialogue. The uncomfortable truth. If your spirituality still avoids clear language, direct statements, energetic responsibility, consistent embodiment, then Vishuddha is not active. And if Vishuddha is not active, ascension remains internal fantasy. The transition. The heart refines love, but the throat refines reality. From here forward, consciousness is no longer measured by how deeply you feel, but by how clearly you stand. Vishuddha does not ask if you are ready. It activates when you stop hiding. Activation. Vishuddha. Authority, truth, and divine flow. This activation is not about forcing reality. It is about recognizing how reality already moves. Sit upright, spine aligned, breath natural. Let the throat soften, not to speak, but to perceive. Bring awareness to Vishuddha, not as voice, but as the axis where life becomes intelligible. Releasing control, recognizing flow. Below this center, life feels chaotic, emotional, personal. At Vishuddha, something changes. Patterns become visible. Timing becomes evident. Resistance loses authority. Say inwardly, calmly, life moves through coherent intelligence. I stop resisting the current. I recognize the divine order within motion. Do not imagine flow. Simply acknowledge it. Recognition is alignment. The shift from effort to coherence, notice how striving dissolves. You are no longer pushing reality. You are no longer negotiating outcomes. Say inwardly, I align with the direction already present. Action arises from clarity, not urgency. I move with intelligence, not force. Vishuddha stabilizes when effort gives way to precision. Authority without control. Authority here does not dominate events. It reads the field. Say inwardly, I speak from coherence. I act in rhythm with the field. Life responds to alignment. Notice the calm certainty that replaces emotional drive. This is not surrender. It is partnership with order. Ending the illusion of randomness. From Vishuddha, randomness collapses. What once felt accidental reveals sequence. What once felt personal reveals structure. Say inwardly, nothing moves without intelligence. I perceive the logic of unfolding. My presence aligns with divine timing. The throat remains quiet. Understanding deepens. Silent command through flow. Remain silent. Do not issue commands. Do not make requests. Allow life to move. And notice how it adjusts around coherence. This is command without assertion. closing seal, say inwardly, once, I recognize the flow. I stand within it. Remain still. This activation is complete. Vishuddha is aligned. Authority is no longer forced. It emerges from understanding. Chapter 4. Ajna. Seeing ends all spiritual comfort. Ajna is where spirituality loses its anesthesia. Up to this point, awakening can still feel meaningful, purposeful, even beautiful. There is love in the heart, authority in the throat, a sense of alignment with life's flow. Ajna removes the final illusion that awakening exists to comfort you. Ajna is not imagination. It is perception without filter. Most humans confuse ajna with visions, intuition, or mystical imagery. That is not ajna. Ajna is direct seeing, without emotional interpretation, without narrative, without identity. It does not ask how something feels. It does not care what you prefer. It does not negotiate meaning. It simply reveals what is, and what is often uncomfortable. Why seeing is more threatening than suffering. Suffering can be explained. Pain can be justified. Confusion can be spiritualized. Seeing cannot. When ajna activates, excuses collapse, stories dissolve, victimhood loses coherence. You no longer ask why this is happening. You see how it is happening. And once you see the mechanism, innocence is gone. This is why many prefer feeling over seeing. The end of spiritual narratives. Ajna does not support beliefs. It dismantles them. Karma stops being moral. Synchronicity stops being magical. Guidance stops being external. Everything becomes mechanical intelligence operating through law, pattern, and sequence. This does not remove the sacred. It removes fantasy. And fantasy is where most comfort lives. Why many turn back at this point? At ajna, spirituality becomes cold to those addicted to meaning. No reassurance, no praise, no identity reinforcement. You see your own patterns clearly, not as wounds, but as repetitions you allowed. This level does not blame. It does not forgive. It reveals. And revelation is intolerable to an ego still invested in explanation.
Imagine transforming your life, one bold step at a time. Just like the timeless wisdom from India's ancient gurus meets today's unstoppable hustle. You've got the spark. Now fan it into a wildfire of success. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your biggest goal, and share this with one friend who needs the push. Together, we're building empires from dreams. Stay fierce, stay focused. Your breakthrough starts right now.